In our first installment of Sustainable Valley, we looked at this area and the impact of the boom and subsequent decline of the lumber business. Where once there were many mills producing literally millions of feet of lumber, today there are but a few. Logging and lumber are making a slow, sustainable comeback, and Boise Cascade is leading the charge. Through not just efficiencies, but good old-fashioned American ingenuity, Boise Cascade now manufactures many types of wood products. Traditional plywood and 2x4s are only the beginning.
So you have been at Boise Cascade for a good 12 years now.
I have. I've been in this region for about the last 5 years.
And you're overseeing the potential product manufacturing of nearly 2,000 products.
Yes.
My
When you look at the different species and peel thicknesses that we use and how we can lay up our products, the different recipes that we have per panel, it's about 2,000 different products. If you look at Boise Cascade here in the Western Oregon region, we make predominantly, there's two products that we're going to make. We're going to make plywood, and there's a variety of different grades and uses for that, but predominantly plywood. And then the second one is for laminated veneer lumber, and it's for our engineered wood products facility, and we make I-joists out of that, and we're going to make beams out of that for headers and so forth.
So once that log comes out of the forest, it lands here, and then you start working with it right at this spot.
We do.
That's right, and it goes through a whole process here.
Yes.
Okay, so kind of describe that just a little bit.
Well, we start with our green ends, our lathes, where we're going to peel that to a desired thickness, and then we're clipping out defects, computerized technology that actually scans the veneer, and it's giving us the desired widths that we want, and then we segregate that into moisture sorts. That is then brought into the drying process here, veneer drying, where we're drying those species are separately by peel thickness, by moisture sort.
And then it gets sorted based upon quality, right?
There's three sorting technologies that we have. The first thing we do is sort by moisture. So we make sure it's the desired finished moisture content that we want. And then second, we have what's called a MetroGuard system, which is sorting by strength. And those higher strength veneers we're using for our engineered wood products, for our I-joist and for our Versalam or beams. And then final sort is a visual grade. It has to meet the moisture, it has to meet that strength grade, and then there's a visual grade that we have on that. And then from there, it sorts by grade into what we call a stacker. So a 12-bin stacker can have up to 12 different grades, and it automatically sorts that for us.
Right. I think one of the most fascinating things is as the sheets go through one area of the plant, there's an adhesive that's sprayed across that, and
Yes.
that adhesive is a low VOC, low formaldehyde content, because it's made out of organic products.
It is made out of organic products.
Including crushed walnut shells.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's a secret, but people gotta know that. That's cool. There's a tremendous amount of volume of product moving through this plant. And
this is a very large facility.
yeah, and it's getting better.
It
It's
is.
growing, it's increasing.
It is. We're excited. We've come through really difficult economic times the last couple of years. We've added about 100 jobs in our region this year. We're continue to hire. We have about 100 more jobs that we're going to bring on next year. We're not at capacity yet. We don't expect to be there next year as well. We've got annual capacity in this region of 750 million square feet of panel. We'll do maybe 500 this year, so we've got a ways to go. But we're excited. For the first time since 2007, we've been hiring. Don, you haven't seen everything so far. I mean, what we've seen, the piece that you've gotten to look at so far is the plywood plant, but you haven't seen where it starts.
There's more?
There is more.
There's more than this?
So I'd like to take you out to White City Veneer, where you can see where it begins in our log yard, and then where it finishes off at our engineered wood products plant there in White City as well.
Okay.
So there's more to see.
Oh my gosh. Let's go see it.
All right.
Boise Cascade's engineered wood products are giving other materials a run for their money in the building and construction industries. Some of these products have the properties of metals and, of course, are made from wood, a wonderful, renewable resource.
Ken, this is an absolutely incredible operation here at Boise Cascade. This has to be one of the largest yards in the country.
It is. I'm not sure how how it rates in the country, but it's one of the larger ones, certainly here in southern Oregon.
So this lumber is being pulled out of a radius of what, 60 miles?
Roughly 60 or 70 miles away is typically where we source our logs, and we source our logs from multiple suppliers. It's the federal government lands, forest lands, the state, the county, and also private forest lands.
But predominantly it's private, right?
Predominantly the volume that comes into this mill is from private lands.
So all this timber is coming off of private property owners and they're selling it to you.
Right, yeah. And we control who we purchase logs from, and we're required to do that through our certification processes. We're certified by 3 different forest certification sustainability systems. The Sustainable Forestry Initiative, the FSC program, as well as the PEFC program, which is the program for the endorsement of certification systems.
I notice how clean the yard is. It's like there's nothing left around at all for waste or...
This whole yard is paved, and we're able to basically take the logs into the mill and then sweep up after we take the logs out and utilize the bark for cogeneration of electricity. So we utilize every part of the log that comes into the mill.
So there's virtually no waste. So tell me more about the process of these logs and what happens.
Well, one of the requirements of our certification systems is we have to tell the certification agency, who is PricewaterhouseCoopers, they do our auditing processes for those certifications, where the logs came from, and we have to certify that they came from certain locations and sources that have had risk analysis done on the forests, so that we're sure that we're not losing forest. And what we do is when the trucks come into the mill, they're weighed at our weigh station. They have a ticket that they scan into the weigh station. That goes into a computer, and that tells the computer who the logs were delivered by, and who we're supposed to pay, and also what source it came from, what location it came from, so that then we can tell the certification agency that our logs came from sources that were sustainable.
That's very good. So once the logging takes place on these private lands, then it's the property owner that's responsible for replanting? Is that what
that's a requirement of the on the private lands in Oregon. It's required to replant the lands, and that's a requirement of the Oregon Forest Practices Act.
Now that's important to know.
It is.
A lot of folks think that once you cut a tree down, that's the way it is, and we're losing trees. A lot of folks get the idea that we're just like over-harvesting timber.
Right, and that's not the case at all. We're actually growing on our federal lands. Our federal lands are probably growing 95% more than we're cutting from those federal lands every year.
So we're having trouble keeping up.
Basically, the forests are growing a lot more volume of limbs, tops, and logs than we're even able to come close to harvesting every year.